From their first fight at the beginning of Outlander to the promise of a happy ending by author Diana Gabaldon, this is the truth behind Jamie and Claire's perfect romance. Now, we all know that conflict is inevitable in any relationship, and these two have a way of making it look sexy. The dark complexity of their romance is really what has us hooked. In The Reckoning, they have their first ever fight, followed by some sex in a field, then more fighting, and then even more sexy time. I mean, they're recovering from that awful run-in with the Redcoats and Blackjack Randall, so it's no wonder that they're traumatized. And as they reach the river, it's time for another epic fight, where Jamie tells Claire that she must listen to him because she's his wife. Now, obviously, that doesn't go down too well with Claire, and what follows is a whole barrage of swearing, pushing, and shoving each other. But then it quickly becomes clear that they're not ready to lose each other, and the couple ends up apologizing to each other. You really have to see it to believe it, because it's an incredibly touching scene. And both Sam Heughan and Katrina Balfe have said that it's one of their favorite scenes on the show. The infamous spanking fight was also in the same episode. You see, when the couple reaches an inn, all the Highlanders are pretty mad at Claire, and they expect Jamie to teach her a lesson. Bad idea. She's a time traveler and isn't going to stand for this nonsense. Claire, being the badass she is, kicks the Highlander in the face, throws things at him, and even scratches him. But Jamie does end up punishing her. The scene is completely nuts, with the pair beating each other up in public while the Highlanders watch and laugh. But it's the shared darkness that makes their romance so much more believable. Considering what happened to Jamie in Season 1, you can imagine that things between him and Claire weren't quite the same intimacy-wise. Claire was pregnant, and Jamie was struggling with nightmares of Blackjack Randall, so he couldn't even look at her without being reminded of that awful experience. But one night, Jamie comes home looking surprisingly happy. He had been at a brothel, of all places, hanging out with someone who could potentially change history, the would-be king. I know it sounds pretty crazy, but that's Outlander for you. Anyway, Jamie jumps into bed with Claire, all ready for some action with his pants already off. Claire's initially into it too until she notices some bite marks on Jamie's thighs. Uh-oh, trouble is brewing. She asks him where he got those marks from, and brace yourself for Jamie's response because it's seriously the worst response ever. He mentions a certain numerical position and says that nothing really happened. R.I.P. Highlander. Now this of course infuriates Claire, who goes on about how alone she's felt in her pregnancy, but the scene's strength lies in the fact that both of them are troubled and clearly having issues with their body image, besides being unsure about themselves. But as we know by now, the makeup sex is just around the corner. There's many instances like these all over the show, showing us the vulnerable side of this idealized romance. But long before the show became a hit, the Outlander books by Diana Gabaldon had already charmed fans of the genre. In fact, back in 1991, it was honored by the Romance Writers of America as the best romance of the year. Gabaldon was even invited to speak at the RWA National Meeting in 2011, showcasing her work's immense popularity and impact. Over the years, it's no surprise that Outlander continues to captivate readers and experts alike. The series consistently ranks among the top romance novels, earning a spot on Goodreads' prestigious list of the top 100 romance novels in 2015. Not only that, it's also on NPR's compilation of 100 swoon-worthy romances. But here's the thing, the author doesn't see the books as romantic at all. In an interview with Vulture, she explained that the genre has evolved over time. In the 19th century, romance was stories that offered an escape from everyday life, combining elements of adventure, love, and conflict. But in the 20th century, the term romance became mostly about love stories. When Gabaldon first wrote the books, she said the publisher had a problem positioning them. They kept asking the editor, but what kind of book is it exactly? So Diana thought about it for a second, said it was a love story, and the marketing people just ran with it. But for Gabaldon, It was always historical fiction with a sprinkle of time travel thrown in for good measure. And that's exactly where the charm of Jamie and Claire's romance lies. Their love story is so well woven into the larger narrative that it becomes much more believable. Never mind that time-traveling detail, at this point in the show, the historical aspect and the relationship are equally important to the fans. There's no imagining one without the other. Strangely enough, the story creates a very realistic fantasy for fans. And most importantly, it's all through the female gaze. For most fans, the object of desire is Jamie, who's this flawed yet gorgeous man any woman would love to have. Jamie's love for Claire is truly legendary. Despite enduring traumatic experiences, his love for her remains unwavering. Their emotional and physical connection with each other is nothing short of intense and passionate. And the way their love is depicted in the books can make even the steamiest romance novels blush. The vivid descriptions of their connection are enough to make anyone's toes curl. And it's pretty much the same on the show. But it's not all about Hewen's great body and the well-produced love scenes. Jamie's devotion to Claire goes beyond that. He looks after her with unwavering dedication, always ready to protect her from harm. Whether it means marrying her to keep her safe or distancing himself to protect her and their unborn child, Jamie does whatever it takes to shield Claire from danger, even when she resists. And that's what makes their relationship picture perfect. The only thing that makes it better is the fact that Claire's one strong woman who knows exactly what she wants in a relationship. Claire often takes the lead during sex, and she isn't afraid to direct Jamie. She also doesn't hold back on speaking up for herself, and while Jamie struggles to understand what she's on about, he does eventually come around. This kind of friction between the two comes from the time travel aspect of the show as well. See, Claire's a 21st century girl in love with an 18th century boy. Outlander has gained a lot of praise for being a show that tackles feminist themes and features strong female characters. Even though it's set in the 18th century, it doesn't shy away from delving into women's experiences and defying the gender norms of that time. Claire goes against the expectations society has for women and showcases independence, intelligence, and resilience. She takes an active role in shaping her own future and challenges the traditional roles assigned to women through her actions and choices. What's also great about Outlander is how it fearlessly addresses sensitive topics like sexual assault, reproductive rights, and the struggles faced by women back then, and today as well. The show emphasizes the importance of consent and agency within relationships, and the characters' journeys often revolve around themes of empowerment and self-discovery. It's clear that we're all sold on Jamie and Claire's perfect romance, but surprisingly, the couple doesn't have a ship name yet. Jamlair? Claimy? Yeah, that doesn't work. But the actors have given such a realistic performance that the fans think that they may be together in real life too. They've gone so far as to suggest that Balf's marriage is fake. That's not all. Fans called up the church where she got married to verify if she did marry her husband. Now that's just nuts. Both actors have said that they're just friends, but are also proud of the fact that their acting has people so convinced. That said, what does this future hold for Jamie and his Sassenach? For one, Gabaldon has started writing the 10th and final book in the series, and she has given us some assurance that the final book of the series will have a happy ending, but she expects it to still leave readers in tears. Diana has seemingly shared this ending with Hewen, who jokingly mentioned on Watch What Happens Live that the series ending was rubbish. On the other hand, Balf said that she knows nothing about how the series will end, and that she actually prefers to keep it that way. I'm just relieved to hear that it ends well. The show's 7th season begins on the 16th of June 2023, and the 8th season will be the final one. So from a guaranteed happy ending to their first fight at the beginning of Outlander, this was why Jamie and Claire's romance is just perfect.